Welcome to the show. I'm Renee Marcou, singer and host of Namaste with Renee, an award-winning podcast that explores mindfulness, personal growth, and spirituality through insightful conversations with thought leaders and experts for a more meaningful and epic life. Welcome, everybody. Today, I am here with my amazing guest, Allison Cotton, who is the CEO of Soul Connector and Energetics for Business. She is chiming in on Namaste with Renee to tell us about the intricacies of human design. And if you're like me 6 months ago and have no idea what human design even is, you're in the right place, because Allison gave me my very first human design for business reading, and it totally enriched my business and my brand. Allison's going to tell us all about it. So welcome to the show, Allison.
Thank you, Renee. Thank you for having me. This is so exciting. I can't believe you had never had a human design reading before.
Never. You were my first guide, and I just was blown away. You know, I wrote you a testimonial and all the things. I probably talked to you about it for days and days afterward. But yes, like, it was amazing. So can you share with the listeners like a basic understanding of what human design is?
Oh God, that's a huge topic.
I know.
So human design, let's start from the very beginning. Human design is a program that was created by a gentleman called Ra-Uhu. I probably pronounced that all wrong, and I'm very sorry. He created that back in the 80s when he channeled and downloaded that program for the collective, and it's been used over the years ever since, and people have adapted it, changed it, mixed it around a bit, but basically at the very core of it, it is very similar to your astrology natal chart. It's just in a different format. So it is very insightful. It's your blueprint. It's very accurate, as you would know.
Yes, definitely.
Surprisingly, you hear things about yourself and you go, oh, and sometimes you want to deny those pieces because you're like, no, that's not me.
Yes, totally. And then you like, oh, but it's written in your human design, so you might as well just own it and love up on it.
That's exactly right. And you sit there and you think, oh, I don't really like that piece. And then something a few months later might come up and you go, oh yeah, that's me.
That's me. Yes.
Okay. I own it now.
Exactly. Well, that was one of the things for me when I had the reading with you about my business, that I had all of these different ideas of what I loved about my business and what I loved about the parts of the business that I would show up and for. And it just clicked for me. Like, it made so much sense when you gave me my reading and you were like, this is why you have the energy to want to feel this and do this and talk this way and have a brand like this, because it was made up already inside of me. So it wasn't even something that I was like, I'm going to choose to do this type of brand and whatever. It was already like this passion that had been bubbling. So when you gave me my reading, it was like, oh, this makes so much sense. And it almost like just validated it for me. And I gave myself permission to fully encompass it.
That is the biggest ticket that human design can offer. It is a massive permission slip to goddamn be and do and have the things that you are created for.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I really love that about human design. It is a tangible product that goes, yes, I want to do that. No, that's not me. I don't particularly like that. How can I shift that?
Yeah.
And so, you know, as you know, we're an evolutionary being. So we're always moving, shifting, and changing. One thing is we often resist the change because we don't like it, because it's uncomfortable and it's unknown.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't do one without the other. And so human design is really a massive roadmap to give you permission to already own the parts that you know about yourself and give you more confidence and give you more trust within yourself. Yeah. But the other aspect is there is the deconditioning of all the shit that we have been conditioned to through society, through social ways, through, you know, family, ancestral. It all counts. And so when you open up those pieces of you, you start to go, hang on a second, I don't particularly like that part of me anymore. That's not me. That's not my design. I'm not designed that way. One of the biggest things that I find with people and clients that I work with is we're a 70% generator by human design population. That's a hell of a lot of people.
Wow.
So when someone like you comes into the game and you're only like 20% of the population, you're trying to live as 70% of the population, and yet you're not designed for that.
Yes. This is
so the conditioning is quite thick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're conditioned by you have to keep going and going and going and going and going like a 70% generator is, but yet you're not designed that way.
That is
you were designed to do differently. Yes. And yet we don't embrace it. Society doesn't allow us to embrace our individuality. It's like, no, you must be like this. You must be like that.
Exactly. And it's like, even I do feel that, and I still feel the unwinding of that right now for myself too, is like, I don't always have like a packed schedule, like that normal 9 to 5, that at least in America, I know you're in Australia, maybe it looks different.
We have the same 9 to 5 social conditioning.
Yeah. So it's like, I was never enrolled in that. So I never really could resonate with it. And it felt so out of alignment with me. I would work nights. I was mainly working nights when I was in the recording studio. I was in there till like 2 a.m. Like that was even just like that whole, the creative vessel and all the other things that I got to do like in my career and all of this time. I don't even have that same match that the generators, as you're saying, would have. Like, it's just not a part of me. And I understand it and I see it in others and how it's a great part for them, but it's just never been my truth. And I didn't realize that, but as a projector.
Yeah. And a lot of suffering comes from burnout from it.
Yeah.
Because you're conditioning your physicality to doing that when you're not physically designed for that.
Yes. Oh,
right. So it just creates automatic dissatisfaction within you.
Right.
Right. And when you look at that, we call that not self in the human design world in the terminology department, but it is. It's you're not in alignment. You're not yourself.
You're not yourself. Right.
Even though you can, and it's not that you shouldn't be like, how can I explain this? It's not that you shouldn't own those pieces of you, but you can change those pieces of you. Like, okay, this was how I was, but I'm no longer this way. I'm actually this way. And then that's when you flip the coin and you give yourself permission to be okay with what was. Yeah. But from there on out with the awareness, this is what I will be. This is what I want to be. This is how I want to be. Yes.
And that's what it really is too with human design. Like, it really has this beautiful awareness piece to it. And that's what I really want to help people understand. Like, if this is the first conversation they're hearing about human design, like even the process, which is what Allison did for me months ago, was getting basically, like you had said, it's like really aligned to like the zodiac, like you gather all that information, right? So it's like, you tell Allison or your human design guide, like what makes up who you are, where you were born, right? What your full name is and all these things. And then she can read into the chart, right? You put it in through a system online and then it pulls up like what it actually says. And then you can read the different aspects of a person or their business.
Absolutely. And people can do this for themselves. I mean, if you just look up free human design chart, there'll be a ton of websites that you can access and enter those details and generate that information for yourself.
Yeah. Wow.
I would have
been lost doing it myself, to be honest.
Well, this is where I'm headed. 12 years ago, I started my human design journey. 12 years ago. And I was given the nudge by spirit to look it up. And I thought, I don't even know anything about this. Yeah. So I just followed that nudge. And when I first got this information and I started reading about what I was and what type I was and how my authority decision making happened, I just went, that's not me. No. And I put it aside for a couple of years, but in the same time, subconsciously, I was doing those things.
Yeah.
And then the nudge came back again from spirit, actually take another look at this. And then I reread it. And from the practice, the subconscious practice, to when I was secondary reading it again, I was like, oh, that makes so much. Yes, that's me. Oh, yeah. And you, it's kind of like reading, your diary. It's like, oh.
Yes. It's like looking back and you're like, oh, this is all making sense. This is part of
that was really me. I wasn't really.
Yes. That's so cool. So, so you started that journey, you said 12 years ago?
2010.
Wow, that's amazing. Oh my gosh. And so is that, like, I know you have some other amazing things that you also do in your business, but what had lit you up at that point in time to start doing readings for other people?
I could see the value in it. If I got so much value in it over a couple of years of and I mean, I'm a line 6, so I've got to go through the trial and error phase, and then I've got to go through the assessment phase, and then I go, that's what I want to take on board. But for me, it was really, it's through experience that I see the value in it. And it really keeps me grounded, because I can refer to my human design chart at any time I feel the nudge and go, yeah. Right, now that makes sense. Right, now I can go this way. Oh, yes, I was thinking that, but that confirms it.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And it's just, it's something tangible in our 3D, just like an astrology chart. We use that. A lot of people use the zodiac signs. I'm an Aries and I've got a sun, moon, and I've got it's the same thing.
Yeah.
You still have the planetary movements in your human design chart. You still have a sun, you still have an earth, you still have a Mercury, you still have a Venus and a Neptune. They're all aspects of us.
Wow. And that system, like in those moments as it's calculating for you, it's literally pulling up all of those planets and everything that had happened right at your birth.
Correct. So there are 2 sides to your human design chart. We have a conscious side and a subconscious side.
Okay.
And so the conscious side represents the time you were born on this planet Earth. So if you were born at 5:55, the planetary movements, the placements of the sun in the gates on human design are all there on one side. The subconscious side is, I believe, your soul. This is how, so 88 days before you were born, your soul, by design, enters your physical form. So the placement, the day you enter from your soul into your physical form, is your subconscious side. It's all the soul work that you bring to this lifetime right now.
Wow, that's
and so it's your shadow, it's the ancestral, it's all of that subconscious.
Yes. Oh my goodness. This is like blowing my mind, because I actually didn't even know to it. Yes. Wow. That's really cool.
So I find it super cool to work in harmony, in balance, and I'm really up for a lot of feminine, masculine balance, of course. But there's 2 sides to every coin, right? We've got the head and the tails. So this now is showing us our subconscious and our conscious side. Like, there is so much in it that you could work through. And it, I've been on this journey, like I said, for 12 years, and I'm still learning every single day, and I'm still looking at things every single day differently.
Yeah. And that's, I think that's like such an amazing thing too, because it's one of those tools that you just can keep on looking deeper and you can keep making sense of. And as like you go through different changes in your life or lifestyle or business, like all of those parts of you still can be accessed. It's like you can always go back to that chart.
Absolutely, every single time. It's the soul blueprint, or actually I call it the gold print, because there's so much gold in it. There's so many wisdom and nuggets of information in there.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And even with my experience with you, like having that reading for the first time, I was like, I just remember just making so much more sense of like my business and of me. And even now, like if I'm sure if we did another reading, it would feel like a whole nother layer.
That's correct. That's exactly what it is. And
Cool.
I mean, how many times in the world have we been told that we're little mini onions and we just have layers upon layers upon layers?
Right. Right.
And
yes.
so there's always another level. There's always another evolution. There, you know,
Yeah.
we just move constantly.
Yeah, definitely. And I know too, you've shared with me and some of like your groups before about how you even started on your journey to this spiritual, gorgeous piece of like who we are. I know we just have a couple moments, but would you share your the beginning, how it all kind of unfolded for you? Which led
Well,
you
I did share. I did share a little bit at the beginning when I first read my chart 12 years ago. I was like, that's not me. Threw it aside, just went, I don't know anything about this. I've got it doesn't make sense, and threw it away.
Yeah.
But then a couple of years later, I had a marriage breakdown. And so from that point, I was like, I really need to know who I am. I really need to know what I'm here to do in this life. And I'm just about to take on myself as a single mother with 2 little babies. How the fuck am I going to work my energy so I can be on top of it all, you know?
Right.
I don't have someone there anymore to help me and support me through bath time and things like that. So my original purpose to go back to my human design was to understand me. So I knew how I functioned energetically, so I could keep on top of being mum and working a 9-to-5 and doing all of those things in the human world.
Yes.
As time went on, I then looked at my children's charts because I also wanted to know who they were and how they operated, because parenting is really fucking hard. You know, and for you have a dog, so you know how hard parenting can be, right?
Certainly.
And so
challenges.
yeah, and so if I just knew a small microscopic piece on how they behaved energetically on that level, I could then parent them a bit better. And so that was my original plan. And then over the years, I've just been guided by spirit to add it into my business, start reading other people's businesses, start doing and it's been an evolutionary process. But the more I dive into human design, the more I want to use it.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's so amazing. And I know you do other things in your business too, but like what a really cool way to open up your own business along this spiritual journey. Like you started doing it for yourself, of course, and then for your children, because you want to be a better mom and have it all, you know, feeling better and like put together and all these cool things. And then before you know it, you're like reading other people. That's really, really guided by spirit. And I think that's so beautiful about this as well. And, you know, for anyone who's tuning in, who's like really kind of feeling lit up right now, because that's how I feel when I talk with you about this process. And after I had my first human design reading with you, for anybody who's interested in really feeling guided to reach out, what do you have anything that you could share with us to find out more about it?
Absolutely. I have a free human design blueprint reading where you can activate and illuminate your human design chart.
Yeah.
And as you know, we did one for your business not that long ago.
Yeah.
And surprisingly enough, your business is just another aspect of you. So even if you've never had a human design chart done before, you can still get information, A, about you, but B, about your business. They intertwine together, as you know. Yeah. So don't think that you have to have it just for business or just for yourself. Mm-hmm. You know, we're multidimensional. And so I truly believe that our business is just another multi-dimension of us. And so when you know your human design chart, from that aspect, you can incorporate your business pieces into it.
Yes.
So,
that sounds
yeah. So activating your soul
blueprint. Give us the link.
That is a really good question. It is www.AllisonCotton. I really can't remember that link. How terrible of me.
That's okay.
We'll have to put it in the show notes because I don't remember the link off the top of my head.
Oh my gosh, no, you're totally fine. We'll put it in the show notes, and
please,
who wants to go check out Allison and her amazing work, please do so. So Allison, thanks so much for being here. It's been so fun talking. You know, we could go on and on forever, sharing about.
I'm glad we were limited today because we could have gone for hours.
Exactly. Yes. Because I'm feeling all this like energy coming through my third eye right now too. I'm like, oh, like this is so fun. But for all the listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. Go ahead and find us over on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, it is Namaste the Podcast. Be sure to like the group, come and join the conversation. And if you're on YouTube, thanks so much for being here. Definitely press subscribe and set your buttons to know that we are launching a new episode every single week and be the first to know. So thank you again, everybody. And we'll be talking with you soon. Thank you again, Allison.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me, Renee. It's been an absolute blast as always.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. And the light in me honors the light within each and every single one of you. Namaste.